Well, it's that time again to give you guys a little bit of an update on what we've been doing with the Golf. Hasn't progressed a lot in the last month. It's now first week of February. And we had Jordan's car come through. We did a cage on that. I might throw a preview in right now. But long story short, we did get some time today on the Golf, and I want to share this with you guys and talk about next steps. So here we go. All right. So the last time you guys saw the car, I had just gotten the rear subframe mounted inside of here, and I talked about adding a couple things and figuring out how the sheet steel is going to work on the inside and all that good stuff. So that's what we're going to cover today. Let me zoom out just a bit. There we go. Okay, so really the only changes between the last video and this one is we have added the start of the inner fender. So this is not going to be the flare, don't worry. This god-awful looking thing is not going to be viewed by anybody. There will be a larger flare on the outside of this, which I'm still working out the details on. But this is the inner fender, and that is important to me now because this development of this car and the aero package that goes with it is amazing. And I can't wait to share that part of the story with you guys, and I might throw a flash in of just what it kind of looks like in the computer today. But long story short, if I don't put inner fenders in this, there's no way to really evacuate the air the way we intend to do it. And so I chose these trailer fenders just because it was a very cheap and easy solution. So I've got a little bit of work here on pulling this inner bit out a little bit. And again, it's going to match up to a larger flare that's going to go here, which I'll show you how I'm going to do that later. I've also got to extend the trailer fender quite a ways and get down to where the full flat bottom floor is going to be, which again, I'll share those details when time permits. I did zip off a little bit more material. You can see, anybody who has a Golf, you know where this line is. I'm about a 1/4 inch higher than the top of that line now, and that's where I decided to go with this inner fender. From a suspension perspective, it's going to have about 3 to 3.5 inches of up travel before it gets into the fender. I can set my bumps and things like that, not a big deal. I'm pretty happy with that amount of wheel travel in the rear, and the over fender is going to come down below, below this point here, and actually shield the tire, and again control a little bit of air on the inside. Did do a little block off plate right here that'll be fully welded out at some point, but for now it's just nice curved piece of steel. And on the back, this is about the amount of tire you're going to see from the rear of the car. Still got some trimming to do here. Long story short, the air is going to evacuate directly out of the back, a lot like what you see here. So what's happening as I'm looking at the fenders and the style of the fenders and what do the fenders cover and all that good stuff, I'm having to think 2 or 3 steps ahead at this point about how do I want to engineer the aero? What material do I want to make the aero stuff out of? Is it all going to be sheet steel? Do I add aluminum in here? Do I start playing with carbon fiber or some other exotic material? All those kinds of things are kind of running through my head right now as I figure out where to stop steel and make more stuff. So this side is exactly the same, and again you can see the fender doesn't match the curve. If I had to do it again, I would have just fabricated my own. I thought the trailer fenders were a great idea. I stuck one side on, dropped it, picked up Jordan's car for a bit, then came back to it, and I'm not happy about the way they look, but again, it doesn't really matter. You're never going to see these once the over fenders are on. So again, this is about 2 inches up travel here, and we will have ultimately 3, so you can imagine the car is squatted just a little bit right now because it's sitting on a bunch of 2x4s that I've just wedged inside the suspension up against this tube where the springs would reside on the factory car. I did add, this gusset plate here, which connects the innermost vertical plate for the trailing arm, as well as I added this tube. You can see about how much I ripped. It took about 5 inches. I expanded the fender about 5 inches. Let me open this up so I can get in here. Right in the middle. So I'm going to fill this in with a piece of sheet steel. It's going to go through and, you know, cover all this up as best I can to keep, you know, those little rubber worms that you get on track from flying into the you know, insides here, all that good stuff. Eventually this will also be shielded completely, but there is a you know, spring and strut combo that needs to go down there to that connection point on the lower control arm. So I'm not going to do that yet. I'm also going to, you know, fill this in. So this will be completely shielded as well. And again, the arrow and the dovetail, so to speak, the car is going to have and all that good stuff. I want to share all that in one video just to pay a bunch of credit to someone I've been working with, as well as, you know, spelt the entire thing, front, the rear, the middle, the underside, and the wing, kind of all at one time, so give you guys a full picture at once. Fuel cell, I did pick up a bunch of aluminum plate. I think I'm going to set the fuel cell on this side. I did some measurements. I want roughly 10 to 12 gallons, and I could do that just with 1/2. And so the other side is going to be the battery, and probably the power steering electric pump is going to sit over here. I don't want to fill from this side, which is why I deleted that hole, mainly because the exhaust is going to run on the outside of the car. Since it's a flat floor, I don't like the cars having exhaust basically sandwiched between the sheet steel and the flat floor. It just makes a very hot environment, and I have room to put the exhaust actually exterior of the car beside the passenger side. So I want to fuel from either over here, or I'm going to fuel from the back of the car where I'm standing. Haven't figured that out exactly yet, but I do know to balance the weight of the driver, fuel cell needs to sit about right there. I've also got to add these vertical bars, so you can see on this side better. I'm going to go from this point to the top right there. That'll be at a vertical bar. That's just for safety and all that good stuff. But it's much easier to work on the car when that bar is not across the window, because I got to reach into here, you know, and weld and all that good stuff. And getting in and out of this full thing is absolute pain. So I'm trying to do as much stuff as I can from the windows before I start, you know, boxing and everything. I haven't decided as well if the fuel cell is going to be encapsulated with its own sheet system, meaning, you know, the driver and passenger would be, you know, firewalled away from the fuel cell, or if I'm going to basically make a false firewall right through here and just, you know, encapsulate everything that way. I haven't made that decision yet. I'm still thinking about the pros and cons of both. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, here's a quick little update. I think the car is looking fantastic. I love the stance of the car. It just looks absolutely proper. Let me zoom in without the fisheye for a sec. But yeah, I think it's going to look amazing. Absolutely amazing. And if it looks half as good as the Aero simulations predict, this is going to be one fun car. There's still a tremendous amount of stuff to do in the middle, and of course the front. I'll make individual videos about all of that fun stuff. But I did play with the front fender and try to make that all work out here not too long ago. So anyway, here's your update for this week. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.